truly believe that you are the creator of your own reality. You're the creator of your own life. And it's like, when are you going to take the pen back and create the life that you want?
Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Dr. Shafer of Talks with Dr. Shafer. I'm a physician, mom, life coach, musician, author, publisher, and I'm passionate about using storytelling as a tool to help you reclaim your story and build your most beautiful future. Now, today we are so excited to share an amazing story with you. The story of Brooke McIntosh. Brooke is an elite athlete, entrepreneur, and keynote speaker who's planning a run around Australia in 2025 to raise awareness for mental health. Brooke went from being hit by a truck in 2022 to running 1,600 kilometers in 28 days in 2023 and raising over $70,000 for mental health organizations in the process. Her story is one we are so excited to be able to share here on Talks with Dr. Shafer. Brooke, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, I have goosebumps listening to that intro. It's amazing to be here.
Brooke, I have goosebumps learning about everything that you've done and accomplished at such a young age and after you've come through so much. Tell us how this story started for you, for where you even had this idea of running ultra distances.
Yeah, wow, that just puts so much into perspective for me. Where this story came from, when I was younger, I just knew I wanted more. I wanted more out of life, and I wanted to do something bigger, and I wanted to do something like more grand in my life. But the way that I was currently living my life, I was abusing it, and I wasn't taking it as I was taking my life for granted. I was choosing the drugs and the alcohol, and I was going down the wrong path. And I truly believe that I've been given a second chance with this life after having no injuries from that truck accident and surviving that this is my second life. So then I made myself a commitment when I was lying awake in the hospital bed after surviving that car crash. I was like, okay, this is my second chance. Like, what impact do you want to create in this world? And that's where I was like, all right, it's time to go big or go home. And I was like, I'm going to run from top of Western Australia to the bottom of Western Australia. And when I stopped that run, I was like, I'm not done. I've got more gas in the tank. I want to keep going and create an even bigger awareness, create a bigger impact in the world around mental health, and have more conversations. So yeah, I just feel like this is my second chance and I don't want to waste my life anymore.
Brooke, that's astounding. And share with us why, because, you work in philanthropy, right? You support charities, and we can choose which charities have a special place in our heart that we want to work so hard for, which obviously you are putting your heart and soul out there every single day, training and running for these charities. What made you decide to support mental health specifically?
Yeah, so when I was 12, it feels like everything happened then, but when I was 12, I started suffering from anxiety, eating disorders, and anorexia. I ended up in hospital then, and the doctor said to me, like, if you don't change your ways, you could potentially pass away, because I was so thin, because I wasn't eating and I was running myself to the ground. So I changed my eating habits there, but then I still suffered from anxiety and depression. And then I started, just did life and was using the drugs and the alcohol to numb the pain, but it was always still there. And I was always just living. I wasn't never really thriving. And then when I was 22, again, I got hit hard with the black dog, as we call it in Australia, depression. And the week that I was leading up to taking my own life was the week of the truck accident. So I've suffered from the mental health. And then I want other people to see that it's not okay to suffer in silence. We can talk about this stuff. And what I realized on the other side of all that as well was that I never actually wanted my life to end. I just wanted the pain to end. And that's the biggest gift that I want to give other people to see, is like, it's not that you want your life to end. You just want the suffering to end, because it's not nice. And we try and use all these coping mechanisms to escape it, but you can't really escape it ever unless you address it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that I discuss a lot on my show, is the reclaiming of your story. And it sounds like using different words for the same concept of, we kind of dance around it and we try to externally find ways to palliate the pain that we have, when at the end of the day, we just need to sit with that pain. We need to really accept it and then move forward, just like you're running right now. You're no longer running away from your life and your feelings. You're running with them and towards your future. And that's just such an amazing evolution over your very young life to come to this already and to make such a pivot in your life. It's really incredible.
Yeah, and I used to be the one who, like, my family, my friends would always say to me, like, what are you running from? Why do you keep running? I traveled around for 11 months by myself, and I was running to the next party, running to the next dopamine hit, running to the next drugs, running to the next job, just continuously running, trying to seek validation externally and trying to seek something new. And it wasn't until I actually sat with those emotions and I transcend those emotions, and I was like, whoa, like, I have trauma. Everyone's got trauma. It doesn't matter if it's big T trauma, little t trauma, like, everyone's got something that's stored in their body. And until we stop running from those emotions, they're going to keep having power over you. And that's where I said, like, that's where I truly believe that you are the creator of your own reality. You're the creator of your own life. And it's like, when are you going to take the pen back and create the life that you want? And in taking the pen back, it's hard, it's uncomfortable, it's ugly, it's nasty. But what's on the other side of that is just pure bliss and joy. And that's what I get from running. Running has been a really big tool for me to personally use to transcend my emotions, to work through my mental blockages, my traumas, and the emotions that come up. And it's quite funny when I tell this story. It's like, when I go out for my long runs, when I run 10 to 50 Ks, which is like 30 odd miles, it's like a mental battle with myself for the first 10 Ks. But then it's like I hit this trance state, and it's in the trance state that my brain starts to process everything, and my mental state just starts to process everything. One moment I could be really, really angry while I'm running. Next moment I'm sobbing while I'm running. And then on the other side, I'm like, oh, it's like the sun's come out. It's like a mental breakthrough. It's crazy what running does for me in that time too.
Wow. That's so beautiful. How often, because you're obviously an incredibly strong woman, and I think being vulnerable and sharing that you're literally having these breakdowns while you run is such a vulnerable and strong thing to do. How often does that happen to you? You're running every day. How often do you have these moments where you kind of break through these emotional walls while you're running?
When I first started, it was literally every time I ran. Every time I ran over 20 Ks, something would happen. And then I would come back and I would tell my partner what I just experienced, and he'll be like, but you were just out running. Like, where else did you go? Nowadays, it doesn't happen as much. It's more that I have to be okay with the boredom that I have while I'm running, which again is another uncomfortable process to sit in, because us as humans, we're so wired, we're so stimulated all the time, we're go, go, go. So now I'm at a stage where I'm having to sit with being bored, which I'm like, oh, this is uncomfortable.
That's interesting because, obviously you're a very creative person, just looking at your life story and the opportunities that you find in the challenges. Obviously you have a creative mind, and there's a lot of talk in psychology and in neurology about that we need boredom. And that's a problem in our modern day society with all of our personal computers that we have in our hands. We never get bored because we're always overstimulated. And I'm so fascinated to know, what are the things that you come up with on these long distance runs, and how do you capture them? Do you ever tell someone, like if someone's driving next to you, do you yell something to them, write this down, or do you go and journal after? Do you capture the things that come to you on these amazing long distance runs?
let's just say if anyone could see the notes section of my phone, they would be like, what is this girl on? Because like when I'm running, I always carry my phone with me, just like in my back pocket. When I do my long runs, I very rarely wear headphones anymore, but I just still have my phone there. So I'll literally whip out my phone and I'll drop a voice memo to a friend, or I'll just store it in my voice recordings on my phone. And then at a later date, I'll come back to it. But I have all these ideas come through. Like 2 days ago when I was running, I was like, I'm going to host a camp for 16 to 18 years old. It's going to be like this. And in my head, because I'm a creative, in my head, it's already done. It's already all planned out. And now I just need to have like the physical action to catch up to it. And then I'll come back and then I'll debrief with my partner, like what I was thinking. And he'll just be like, what? Like, yeah, this is already done. He's like, how have you just built a whole brand new business while you're out running? And I'm like, it's the power of boredom.
It
Yeah.
is. It's that time to spread your mental wings so that you can fly. And if we are buying into all of life's distractions all the time, just like you discussed, the habits that you had, the things that were a part of your life that were detrimental to you, that were taking away from your creativity and your purpose and how far you could go in life. Now, someone might think, well, what do you get done running? Well, I mean, it sounds like an awful lot.
A lot. And because I've got a team of 5 behind me, they know what my schedule's like, and they know when I'm out running they can expect a random voice message drop in, and it may not make any sense, but we'll debrief it afterwards. They're like, oh, she's off her run, she's had her idea pop in, we need to
I
action this. Yeah.
Wow. And you must have an amazing team because you are doing a lot. Tell us about the things that, okay, so now we know future, right? We know that there's a bigger run coming, which we're definitely going to discuss at length. And we know that there's a summer camp coming, which, okay, so now there's going to be a line of people pre-registering for that. So that's fantastic. But tell us, what are the other things that you're doing right now? Because it's not one thing or two things. You're doing a lot of things to try to help support other people and get your message out there.
Yeah, so I do a lot of business coaching for other business owners to find their purpose and their impact. Because what I see happens a lot is we get into business and then we try to do what everyone else is doing. We get bombarded with the newest, the latest tactics, strategies, email marketing, content, how to write this, and that we actually forget the one core reason why we got into that business in the first place. So I help business owners find and deepen into their purpose so they can expand their impact and fall back in love with their business and see how simple, easy, and fun it is actually gets to be when we loosen our controls on how it should be and we just lead with our heart. Obviously tying in logic with that, because if we always just led with our heart, sometimes we might fall over too many times. So we got to take our wisdom as well.
Yes, balance and everything.
Balance, for sure. Yeah, so that's the main thing that I do on the side of running as well. And then I also have an interior design and an Airbnb management company too. So very busy lady.
Absolutely. And you're a keynote speaker.
And my speaking, I do thrive off that. I love speaking to audiences. I love sharing my story to have a bigger impact on the masses as well. Because I know whenever I speak, at least one thing will land with someone. If it helps them feel seen, heard, and validated, then they may just go out and do something bigger with their life, or it may just potentially save their life too.
And you also have your own podcast, Limitless. Tell us about that.
Limitless. Well, what I know to be true in the last 3 years is that everyone has an untapped potential inside of them. Whether that's in personal life or business life, there is always that untapped potential. And the only limits that we are bound by are the ones that we hold on to ourselves. And for you to truly become limitless is by you removing those limits and pushing outside of those current limits, and which is so possible for each and every single person. You just have to be courageous enough to go first and to go forward and to go through those uncomfortable emotions, as we've previously spoken about. And that's exactly why it's called Limitless, because I love having conversations with people who have become limitless and who understand the power of that.
There is so much potential in all of us. And what I see happen with my audience, people, I'm 40 years old, and people who are a bit younger than me, a bit older than me, there's this experience in midlife where it's not uncommon to come to this sort of reckoning with how we've been using our time and energy and talents, who we are, and the misalignment of those things. And usually we are only aware of that because it causes us pain, psychological pain, physical pain. And that pain, because habits are so ingrained in us, right? It's that pain that's going to be the thing that finally pushes us into reclaiming our story, into changing our habits and living differently. I wanted to cycle back to some early life experiences that you had had when talking about these habits, right? And how they can be detrimental and keeping us from our limitless potential. You've mentioned your partner and how after your runs, that's a place where you can discuss the future and your goals and your ideas in, it sounds like, a very supportive environment, but that wasn't always the case. I understand you had left a difficult relationship after 5 years, and that also informed how things were going in your life early on. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I found myself after high school, I got into a relationship that deep down I knew that I shouldn't have been in, but because it was all too familiar for me, it was chaotic, it was lots of screaming, lots of yelling, lots of fighting, lots of control, lots of narcissistic comments, lots of belittling. For me, that just felt familiar. So I was like, this is love. This is where I should be. This is safe. This is comfortable. So I entered a relationship, and it was that relationship that I just stayed in it for 5 years, way too long. But it was interesting how deep down I knew I shouldn't have been there, but I was just chasing the familiar patterns. And in that, it just led to a lot of self destruction, a lot of me living a life that wasn't truly in alignment to who I wanted to be. I was the kind of girl who could never speak her truth, who didn't have confidence, who would ask for permission to leave the house, what I was wearing. I always had to have second opinions and had to seek validation from the outside. I could never do anything by myself. And it wasn't until I finally had the courage within myself to choose better, to be like, actually, I deserve a partner who loves me for me, who I can be all of me in front of and not hide any aspects of me. And it wasn't until I had the courage to leave did I finally realize how capable I was. Did I finally realize, like, whoa, this is daunting, but there is so much more out there. There is so much more joy and happiness and ease. And with all that, it's like you can be creating a life that creates you dis-ease, or you can create a life that creates you ease. And that's finally what I decided to do. I was like, this life is just keeping me on this hamster wheel. I'm not getting anywhere. I'm depressed. I'm riddled with anxiety. I hate where I'm currently going. I'm not going anywhere. Or I can be okay with being uncomfortable and choose the uncomfortable path that is so much more liberating, more joyous, and it's just more fun.
I so appreciate you, Brooke, sharing these personal stories. I know it's not easy. I myself was a victim of domestic abuse and in a relationship far longer. So I think it just goes to show that I think sometimes we beat ourselves up about that we stayed in these situations that we knew were bad for us for so long. But as you said, there was something in our history that had been woven into the fabric of our mind that made that feel familiar. It didn't make it okay, but it was familiar. And when we were kids and we were seeking that approval in our environment because we needed to survive, and we were getting the feedback from caregivers that that was a requirement, that they needed to basically check off everything we did and that much control, then when you're a young person, it's so easy to fall into similar relationships. So I see so much of myself in your story, and that makes me so grateful for your honesty and vulnerability and sharing it, because there are other women and men who will hear this story. They will see themselves in it, and they may not have gotten to the point of liberating themselves yet. They may not feel it's safe, or may not be in the mindset place to do it. But these stories are so important to show there are strong women, smart women, brave women, hardworking women who can literally run around Australia, who find themselves in these situations. So don't waste any of your energy and focus on beating yourself up, because that's just keeping you, like you said, on that hamster wheel. Instead, where do we want to use our energy? Do we want to run that way in a cage, or do we want to be like Brooke and run out in the open air and run towards our future and our goals? So it's such a blessing to be a part of sharing that story. And I so appreciate you and everything you're doing.
Yeah, I think on that as well is like when you've lived in this fight or flight state for so long, it's like you continuously chase the next chaotic thing or the next argument or the next blow up, or you try continuously look for these little things to make your life chaotic. But it's like when you shift through those emotions, when you regulate your nervous system, when you come to a grounding space and you're starting to get really grounded and embodied on where you want to go and who you want to be and the relationships that you want to attract in, at the start, you might start going chaotic. Like you might start being like, oh, I can't feel this way. Oh, this is too comfortable. Oh, what? This is easy? Like, oh, this is too good to be true. And it's like, that's where we then need to reprogram ourselves to be like, it's actually safe. And that's what I've had to do with this new partner that I've called in. It's like, oh, he won't pick up on my he picks up on my red flags, but he won't argue back. He'll hold space for me. He won't buy into the little nitpicky arguments or like, yeah, he won't do that because he's not there and he's actually being like, babe, let's just talk about this on a grounded space. He never once raises his voice. At the start of the relationship, I was like, oh, what's this? Like, this is a massive red flag. And now I'm like, actually, this is ease. This is beautiful. This is calming. This isn't chaotic. This is what life should be like. And it's like retraining your nervous system to be like, this is okay. This is safe. This is secure. This is beautiful.
It certainly is. And it's something that I've found in my life. And I think if you just step back and look at your life, if you know, the listener is thinking about Brooke's life, and you look at the energy that you clearly have, you can literally run around Australia. You can run 50K a day. You can run 30 miles a day. Obviously, you have a lot of energy. In part, that's because we all have so much energy, but if we are being unintentional with it and we are allowing ourselves to be distracted and giving it to forces that are not for our good or the greater good, then we just lose it. It's not being invested in any way that will help us. So I love your focus on spreading that message, because it is so incredibly important for mental health that we are honest with ourselves about our energy and we save it for the things that fill our cups, because that is a part of mental health. You can't be happy without being safe, without being away from chaos, without being in an environment where you don't have to have a dysregulated nervous system.
So true. And it's like, I'm really big on boundaries. And if it's not serving me, then it's not going to happen. If it doesn't align to my values, it's not going to happen. If it's draining my energy, and I call them energy vampires, I'm sorry, there's boundaries in place on how long I can have with you or conversations. It's like, I know what fills my cup up. And a lot of people from the outside, they look at my life and they're like, you're doing so much. I'm doing so much because I love it. It's like, why would I stop doing so much when I'm living in purpose every single day? And I love what I do. And I love the impact and I love helping people. Why would I stop? I've got my tools every day that I do for myself that fills my cup up. But I'm like, I don't live a hectic life. I live a good life. I love my life. And I think that's the difference, is like when you do things to fill up your cup and that you do in purpose and in like with more intention that aligns to your values, you can do so much more. And when you live a life that is not in alignment to your values and because you have to, it's like that's where you're so tired, you're having 10 cups of coffee a day just to get by. It's like, wake up.
Absolutely. And now you're awake and you're running. Tell us what it feels like on just being in your body. Now, I know you've done a lot of work on mental health and mindfulness, so you know this movement to bring it back to your body, right? So when you're running 60K, 50K, what is that physical experience like for you?
It's just liberating. I went out and I ran 42K on the weekend. I got home and my partner was like, how was that for you? And I was like, it was just strong. It was just liberating. Like I was untouchable. Like I was bulletproof. My body just held up so well. And because, yeah, all it is to me is just one more. And every time you push your body just that little bit more, you're like, whoa, I'm capable of it. And it just feels so liberating because I'm like, whoa. My last run, I ran 60Ks a day for 28 days. That's insane. Not many people do that at all. And
Wow.
now my training is on track to run 80Ks a day for 180 days. I feel so strong, but I know I feel strong purely because I'm looking at this training ground more as a massive holistic approach. So I've got the strength training included. I've got the running included. I'm taking way better care of my mental health, way better care of my nutrition, but way better care of like my micro health as well. So my energetics, my spiritual, my mindset, my soul. I'm looking after every single component that I possibly can and not neglecting anything. And it's like my current training phase is to strength train 4 days a week and run 5 days a week. Anyone from the outside would be like, why aren't you running 7 days a week? Like, that's how you have to prepare your body. But I know that if the foundations are strong at the beginning from my mind, my body, and my soul, that the rest is just going to take care of itself.
That's amazing. I'm just imagining you just kind of breaking through this wall ahead of you where it feels like I can't go anymore. And then you do. And then the sensation in your body, it's almost like a neurochemical release. And then you're in this new dimension that you couldn't access before, but now you're there and you're just in awe of yourself and this existence. It's very like metaphysical thought I have. I'm not a long distance runner. I do love short runs. We won't even get into the numbers because it would embarrass me. But I do absolutely love running. And for me, on my journey, I would have nightmares that I literally couldn't run. I would have nightmares that I was stuck in a tunnel, that someone's coming up to me, and that I felt like my legs, my feet were in molasses. And this was a recurring nightmare that I couldn't run. And so one of the things I did when I finally started investing in myself was running. And I did quickly start running every day because the feeling you get from showing yourself that you can do something, that you have such a developed limiting belief around that it's invading your dreams at night and it's giving you nightmares. When you show yourself, no, I can physically move my legs, I can run, I'm strong, I can get away if I need to. That is just so important. And so I love this idea of running for mental health. Have you found many other people on your journey that are joining you on this mission?
When I run around Australia, I definitely have a few run clubs in the different cities going to join me when I'm running as well. So I'll send them a message, be like, hey, I'm at this location, or I'll be at this location at this date, come run with me. And then they'll get all their run clubs together to come run. But I always go to my run clubs at least once a week. I live probably about 40 minutes from the city in Western Australia. But I always drive into my run clubs each week and then go running with people there as well. And it's interesting when you have the conversation with other runners on how much they do it for their own mental health. It's like people find running by accident, But then after sticking to it for like a month, 2 months, 3 months, and then say if they drop off, they're like, whoa, my mental health decreased. And then they come back on and they're like, actually, I just love running for my own mental health. Or the latest craze at the moment is people want to challenge themselves and run a marathon, which is amazing. But then it's like their training ground to the marathon. They realize how much their mental health has improved and they love running. And they're like, I never thought that I would say that before, but I love running. It's just my mental clarity. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think it's good as a start to have that as a goal to help you stick to the habit, but then hopefully you run for you. And the thing I found interesting is there's your basic run that you do, for me every other day I like to run. But then there's the crisis run, right? There's the time when sometimes something is going on and it's just, okay, I'm going to go for a run.
And I feel like sometimes those runs are like the best runs when you go out there with no intention to, you just hit the pavement and you're like, I'm just going to run. And it's like you look down at your watch and you're like, whoa, I just ran that fast. It's like you hit this meditation trance state where things start to like just go zen and start making sense. And you're just like, that's incredible.
I've even seen videos of you when you were running, saying that someone had come and given you a donation of $1,000 when you were on a run. How often does that sort of thing happen where people just are inspired by you and they say, hey, I want to help on your mission?
Yeah, so when I was running Western Australia, that happened a lot, and it was actually really, really cool. People would just stop on the side of the road, give cash donations, or scan the QR code and donate that way. But what was really special to me is how many conversations that were started, but two, like the massive truckies. They would pull over and give me Gatorades or lollies or just have a conversation and just to make sure and to check in that I was doing okay and giving some words of encouragement, and the whole community supported. It was incredible. Yeah.
That's amazing. And isn't it amazing how one person showing what could seem like superhuman strength brings out the strength of the community? The community gets behind you and it strengthens everyone by reminding us that we need one another, we inspire one another, and we love helping one another. And through what you're doing, not only are you helping others, but you're giving people purpose and you're making them want to join you because it's so inspiring.
Yeah, I used to hold on to this belief that I was too small to make an impact. I was like, who am I? I can't do anything big. And yeah, obviously that belief is way gone now. But there's this video of me on my last run, and it was me at the end of the day. And I've ran 60 Ks and I've chucked my arms up, and I'm like, I may be small, but I'm bloody almighty. And that video just circled the internet hard. And for me, that's just like the inspiration behind that is just to show everyone that you may be small, but you can be mighty and you can create a difference. Like it's just one drop in the ocean, but it ripples out to the wider community. And community needs community. Community needs each other. And what I see with technology, social media, is that we're all bound by our phones. And it's like, put the phone down, have a conversation with the stranger, check in with the stranger. It's not weird. It's only weird if you bring weirdness to it. So just have more conversations and lead with kindness, I feel. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Can you imagine how weird our, people would think 20, 30 years ago if they saw us all, you go to a playground and the kids are playing, but all of the older people are just like this. They'd
Like,
say, that's so weird.
what are these aliens doing? It's like, come on, let's use our mouths and communicate more.
They'd worry, did the computers take control? And they sort of did. But people like you are showing actually this getting back to your body, getting back to your fitness and your strength, and getting back to nature. I want to talk a little bit about that because we are based in the US here at Talks with Dr. Shafer. And I'm not sure if you know the lore there is about the wildlife in Australia to the American sentiment, but we're a bit afraid of all of the incredible and dangerous animals that you can encounter in Australia. Do you ever worry about that, think about that, encounter anything on your runs?
No, I see snakes and I see blue tongue lizards all the time, and it's like I'll be running, and then next minute, if you see me do a big leap, it's because I've just had to leap over a snake. But they
Yes.
don't chase after you. Just don't step on them. I feel like that's just common sense. Like, just leap over it and you'll be fine.
And to be
Kangaroos come out.
clear, yeah, to be clear, so I do that too. Almost every run, there's a gardener snake or something. Those are not poisonous, and they're usually pretty small. We're talking also poisonous snakes, I imagine, because I think you have the highest number of poisonous snakes in the world in Australia.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
talking poisonous snakes too.
we're talking poisonous snakes. Okay, just to be clear for our audience.
But I'm kind of like a little bit blasé with those things. So it's crazy, but there's been this scorpion in our house for about 3 weeks now. And I have seen it like 3 times. And my partner will be like, "Have you killed it?" I'm like, "I'm not touching that. No way. It's not harming me, so it'll be fine." And I seen it again last night, and I told him, and he's like, "Did you kill it?" I was like, "No, it's just outside. It was just chilling. I'm not going to kill it. It's fine." So I'm a little bit blasé when it comes to bugs and insects, but I'm like, if it's not biting us, it's not going to hurt us. Jump over it, leave it alone.
No, I'm honestly the same. I'm honestly the same because nature is so important, and all these little creatures, they're an important part of nature. So I definitely don't go around squishing anything. But that being said, in northern Michigan, where I live, we might have a few poisonous spiders, but they're pretty rare. So I give you a lot of credit for going out there every day and not only running these ultra distances, but also amongst probably the greatest percentage of poisonous animals in the world in one space.
You guys have bears and stuff. That's scary.
We do, but I've also seen people get punched by kangaroos.
Not where
I've
I live.
seen that. And you don't agitate them, you let them be.
No, I'll let them be. I'm not going near a kangaroo.
I love it. Well, I've gotten us off track, but honestly, this was a question I needed to raise to you because Americans just need to know. This is important to us.
I think the most dangerous thing that I face when I'm running is tourists and caravan drivers and truck drivers on the highway.
Yeah.
That's a scary thing. And the heat
Absolutely.
conditions here as well. Like, it gets so hot that the dehydration can definitely set in. But I haven't been dehydrated yet.
So how often do you have check-ins with the driver? Is someone driving near you at all times, or are there check-ins? How do you make sure you get water? Because obviously you can't carry enough water on your person, I imagine, to go these long distances and stay hydrated.
So I have someone check in majority of the time every 20 Ks. Sometimes I might run 30 or 40 Ks and no check-ins, and I'll have enough water. That's only in winter. I would never go out summer with no water like that. Yeah, so majority of the time over 20 Ks.
Yeah, it's important for people to understand, beyond the physical and mental fortitude and training that this requires, it's also requiring a lot of people to coordinate with you to keep you safe and to keep this going. So this is an incredible effort. I want to talk now. We've talked about everything you've done in the past. I want to talk about how you're going to be running 14,000 kilometers to raise awareness of mental health and you're hoping for $1 million for a Blue Tree Project. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so Blue Tree Project is a mental health charity. It's one that's super close to my heart. They just do amazing things in the community. Kendall, who runs the Blue Tree Project, she's pretty much turned her pains in life to her purpose. She lost her brother to suicide, and before he went, he played a prank on the family by painting a dead tree blue. And that has just sparked so many conversations all around Australia. So now Kendall's mission is to help people with mental health, do trainings, but also paint more trees blue for people to understand that it's okay not to be okay, and let's have a conversation. And these trees, whenever you see them, for me, whenever I see them, I'm like, oh, here we go again. It's going to be a great day. It's just a bad day. It's not a bad life. And it just gives me that glimmer of hope. So that's why I've chosen her charity again. So last year was for her charity. Next year will be for her charity. But the run around Australia, it's going to be intense. But I honestly can't wait to get back out there and do it again. We're going to have, so my support crew who came with me last time, Rowan, He's going to be with me for the whole 6 months this time again. And how he put up with my mental and my sassiness and my personality and my emptying out the dunny, making my bed, cooking all my foods for a whole month last year, he's going to do it for 6 months next year. So that is pretty epic that he's donating that much time for this mission for me. But not only that, we've got people coming in throughout Australia to support us as well. They'll be flying into like the nearest town, driving out to me, supporting me for a week, 2 weeks. We'll have a different rotation crew. So in that itself is a lot of preparation, not to mention training the body, getting the mindset right, me eating enough food every single day. I'm having to eat like 3,000 worth of calories now. It's insane just to keep up with my training load and just to ensure that my body's intact and I don't lose weight. But talking about like the outdoors of Australia, we'll be camping in a caravan for 6 months on the side of the highways in Australia. So it's like we might come up next to a kangaroo who just wants to knock on our door or something in the middle of the night. But I'll be living in a caravan for 6 months, running 80 Ks a day for 180 days. It's going to be elite. I honestly can't wait.
How can people help you in this mass effort? How can they contact your team if they want to be someone who joins you somewhere, brings water, or just organizes a group of people to stand on the side of the road and cheer you on, maybe at the end of a really long stretch? How can people reach your team, reach you to organize that for next year?
Any support is like massively appreciated. And if people want to join and do all that stuff, that is massively appreciated. And you can do that by visiting brookemcintosh.com.au or just simply emailing team@brookemcintosh.com.au. And then my team will be able to get you dates, get you more information on how exactly to do that too.
That's amazing. And of course, there's going to be media coverage. So we from the States will also be cheering you on. And also, people can go to your website to make donations for the project as well.
Yeah, the donation link is up on the website now as well. And next week, I'm not sure when this is airing, but next week, start of September, we've got our documentary being launched on our YouTube channel, which has just been launched all across Australia. So next week it'll be on my YouTube channel for more people to get like an inside scope as to what happened last year on the run and now in preparation for the 2025 endeavor as well.
Everyone follow Brooke McIntosh on her Instagram and just follow along the clips. We know that she's not on social media all the time, but luckily she has a team that is videotaping things and putting it up there. It's so inspiring. And it's also makes me think when I heard you talking about your voice notes and contacting your team, what about a book in the future?
Yeah, so the plan, like that definitely is going to happen in the future. I kept trying to shy away from that. I was like, no, I can't write a book. I can't sit down and write a book, but it's going to have to happen in 2026, I reckon. I'm going to have all these voice notes, messages, transcribe them into text and then come up with a book somehow, or just to sit down and write my story in a book. But that is definitely going to have to happen.
I feel like you already wrote the book and there's so many options. As an author myself and a publisher and an editor, I'm thinking, okay, what's better, a journal that's just a journal that goes through those days, or a journal then with a reflection, a deeper reflection than what you could do when you were running? I mean, the opportunities are endless, but I can't wait to read it. And I can't wait for my daughter to read it as well. She's not yet a runner, although we're going to start doing that together. But the thing she's interested in, and she was very inspired by a recent movie that she watched, and I'm forgetting the athlete's name right now, who did that run. She watched the movie about the woman who swam the English Channel.
I love that movie. Nyad, yeah. I'm pretty sure it is.
I don't want to say it wrong because I can't recall, but so she watched this movie and she was so inspired that basically the next day she's like, okay, when are we swimming the English Channel? And I said, okay, Okay, well, we need to start training if we want to swim the English Channel. So in September of 2024, she's going to raise money for a local charity by swimming, I think it's 5 miles over the whole month, right? Not a big number, but it'll be her first attempt to swim a distance. She's only 10. And she loves this idea, just as you've been sharing with people, of going these distances and proving to yourself that your body is stronger than you ever thought it was, and that your mindset is stronger than you ever thought it was. And that's why I love that movie we brought up. I love the idea of you having a book and you being on social media and everywhere so that little girls can see how strong you are. They see you as a complete person because you're so generous in sharing your life story. They can see themselves in you and know that really there is no ceiling and the possibilities are endless as long as they're willing to really put in the effort and believe in themselves.
Yeah, and I love that movie so much. And I think the biggest takeaway from that movie, my story, all combined into one, is like, one, your body can go elite distances. But two, when are you going to start digging into that untapped potential inside of you and go just one more? Like, when are you going to reclaim your life and actually give your dreams all of you? And that's exactly what Nyad did, is like, she tried to swim and then she failed the first time. She come back 2 years later and then she gave up. And then she come back again when she was like 65 or something. And it took her 65 years to go all in. And I'm like, stop waiting 65 years. Nyad knew at the start when she was in her 20s that she wanted to do that. But it took her another 30 odd years to do it, which is incredible that she even got there and managed to achieve it. But I'm like, people, wake up, reach your full potential right now. Like, you can start right now if we just delete all the other limiting beliefs that we've held on to for so long.
Don't wait. And when you're running, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. I think that there's beauty in pushing through to your end goals, but you have to focus on now, right?
Mhm.
Not on the past, not on the future, but on the 3 feet that are around you. And just like you said, just one more.
Yeah, and that's all it is when I first told people that I was going to run, 1600 Ks, they thought I was batshit crazy. When I told people that I was going to run around Australia, they thought I was like triple batshit crazy. And I'm like, literally, all it is just one more step. Like, it's just one more step, just one more state, just one more day, and Australia will be completed. Where a lot of the time people look at the massive vision, the massive goal, and they're like, I can never achieve that. That's so much. But if you have a massive goal and you continuously chunk it back into the smallest bite-sized pieces, and then you go just one more step every single day, you're going to look back and be like, well, I achieved it. How did I achieve it? Just one more. It's like, It's that simple. It's that easy. And it gets to be that fun.
Oh, it's so much fun. And it has been so much fun getting to meet you, Brooke. Thank you so much for being here. I know we said it earlier in the episode, but I do want to remind people how they can learn more about you and support you. If you could share the website just one more time. And of course, we're going to link everything in the show notes. And I will ask that everyone goes and subscribes to your podcast and that they follow you on social media. I've been really enjoying getting to watch these fun clips and so inspiring and encouraging for me. And also, like I said, for my daughter and the young people that are in my life.
Yeah, so it has been incredible, and it is honestly just going to be even more incredible, especially to the lead up to next year and documenting all of that. And you can find everything over at Brooke McIntosh. It's MC, not MAC. It's brookemcintosh.com.au. Over on my Instagram channel and my YouTube channel is where we'll be documenting everything for the run specifically.
Well, thank you for spending your precious time with us today, because I know you've got to get good rest and hydration and food and training in. So we so appreciate your time. Thank you so much for the inspiration. You are incredible. And we're so appreciative to get to learn more about you and to be a part of your story.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shafer. It's been amazing.
And thank you to our listeners for being here. As I said, I'm going to put all the information in the show notes. Please support Brooke on her amazing endeavor now and in the future, because obviously she's going to need help next year in 2025 when she is completing this run, but she's going to need support between now and then for her and her team to get there. So thank you so much for being here to hear about this amazing cause and to help support Brooke McIntosh and her run around Australia to support mental health. Everyone, take care, stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon.